we have people inspiring to be this kind of evil. Yes, evil. If you have people begging you for more money so they can take care of themselves and their family, and you just hit billions of dollars in profit. Hey, thank you for watching Power to the Pod, where we are committed to an intellectual integrity and the moral honesty. I'm your host, Superior. Once again, thank you for watching. Now, in this video, I want to discuss, let's have this conversation about capitalism. Yes, the one thing that I seem to not understand why poor people, middle class people, seem to want to defend. They will die on this hill in hopes and prayer that one day they're going to be rich. So they don't want to fight against a system that they're putting their hopes and dreams into, even though that, just about on every statistics and scale is screwing regular people. But that's a whole nother story. But when it comes to capitalism and our governments, those two should be in separate rooms. You know what I'm saying? One, businesses should not be in the same bed. They should not be doodling, if that's a word. If it's not, it's a word now. They should not be working together. Now, the train derailment that happened a couple of days ago, I know it's two of them. I'm talking about the first one here. It's ridiculous. And I'm not going to hear no Republicans. I don't want to say none, but I'm not going to hear the loud, big mouth, in your face Republicans say anything about this. And if some Democrats do say something, they're not going to take the extreme measures to enact change that needs to be happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just seems how these two parties work. But what we're about to watch is a prime example of capitalism sucking up as much money. It's a reason why boundaries and regulations and rules, and it's a reason why all this is an important thing. Just like if someone's building you a brand new house and you have an electrician come through, you don't want them cutting corners. You don't want them, just not abiding by the rules to make sure that your house is in tip-top safe condition. You want him to have the tightest, restrictest regulations for your safety. But with capitalism, they try to suck up as much as they can for profits. They try to pay their employees as little as possible to maximize their profits. Let's take a listen.
The show. But a key thing is, at the end of that story, I mentioned that many groups have said that this whole situation underscores how corporate interests have gutted essential rail protection. And given we're already seeing another derailment, I think it's important we talk about. So there are two key areas where capitalist overlords have really fucked shit up that I want to touch on. The profit maximizing operational model that most of the rail industry uses, and the efforts to undermine safety standards. So first off, for the last few decades, rail carriers have been increasingly using a model called precision scheduled railroading, or PSR. And the idea behind PSR is basically for operators to do more with less in order to maximize revenues by driving down operating expenses. So to do this, PSR emphasizes running strict schedules, streamlining routes, and cutting costs, equipment, and employees, with experts saying that in theory, PSR increases efficiency while lowering costs. But in reality, because these rail workers have so much marketing power, instead of doing more with less, they're able to do less with less. So as a result, railroads are essentially incentivized to spend less money on rail operations and more money on stock buybacks or dividends to measure success in the eyes of Wall Street. Right, key thing.
Now, one, I'm sorry, Mr. Phil. Can we agree that just about every successful business operates like this? I'm pretty sure you watching this, if you own your own business, at some point you thought about doing the same thing. How can I pay as less as possible, employees, products, whatever, to maximize my profit? It sounds good on paper. I understand. You got to get your money. I get it. But when you're cutting so many corners and doing so many people wrong just to make sure your profits is, millions of dollars, billions of dollars, like we're about to find out, at some point, It's not moral. I don't care who you are. You know at some point that you are evil. And you have to be okay with that.
Things I want you to take from this. Under the PSR model, the railroad workforce has been totally gutted. The workers that remain are overworked to the point of exhaustion, and safety precautions have been sacrificed for profits. And if all of this sounds familiar to you, is because this whole discussion was at the heart of the railroad strike that was narrowly averted at the end of last year. You might remember us talking about it. You had workers asking for a number of really basic things like better pay and working conditions, as well as more flexible schedules for things like medical appointments.
Oh man,
all things that were denied.
That's just so much. That's just so much to give employees who's spending their essentially most of their life working for you. Oh my God, they're just asking for too much. I mean, these American workers are just so, like, I don't know, just entitled. You know what I'm saying? From the richest country in the world, these people are so entitled. Like, why are they asking for more? That's crazy, huh?
As the result of a model that encourages railroads to do less with less. And that's also been exemplified by Norfolk Southern, which operates a train that derailed in Ohio. That carrier has continually increased its dividend, and last March it announced a $10 billion stock buyback program. Yes, really, billion with a B, while at the same time refusing to give workers basic benefits like fair pay and sick leave. This also, as the company reported record-breaking operating revenues totaling $12.7 billion last year. And in a recent
Okay. Sorry to cut the video again, but it just confuses me because I know for a fact it's going to be someone in my comment section defending these people here. Well, how else do you think these people are supposed to make money? And railroads this and this, billions of dollars in profit, and you have people threatening or even going on strike to get fair pay, sick leave. I don't understand. I don't get it. And then, like I said at the beginning of this video, we have people inspiring to be this kind of evil. Yes, evil. If you have people begging you for more money so they can take care of themselves and their family, and you just hit billions of dollars in profit, you didn't break even, you didn't, just here billions of dollars in profit, and you are being that greedy and evil. You are evil. I mean, there's really no excuse about that.
Recent press release, the Railroad Workers United, an inter-union alliance of rail workers, they argue that the Ohio derailment was just a predictable outcome of a system operated by PSR. In fact, they went as far as to explicitly argue that the root causes of this wreck, they were associated with the hedge fund-initiated operating model known as PSR, with the group adding that, as investigators have said, the immediate cause of the wreck appears to have been a 19th century-style mechanical failure of the axle on one of the cars, and adding, there is no way in the 21st century, save from a combination of incompetence and disregard to public safety, that such a defect should still be threatening our communities. With the group going on to say that the profit incentivizing created by PSR has made cutting costs, employees, procedures, and resources the top priority, and pointing out that Norfolk Southern and other carriers have eliminated many of the critical mechanical positions and locations necessary to guarantee protection against these kinds of failures, while they're also petitioning regulators for relief from historically required maintenance and inspections. And in a statement to The Guardian, the RWU's secretary, they claim the Palestine wreck is the tip of the iceberg and a red flag, saying if something is not done, then it's going to get worse, and the next derailment could be cataclysmic. So all of that, incredibly fucking scary, but also remember, that is just one part of the equation here. But as I mentioned earlier, corporate interests have also had a hand in influencing federal safety rules. In fact, a report by The Lever found that documents the outlet reviewed showed that Norfolk fucking Southern helped kill a federal rule that intended to upgrade rail braking systems for trains carrying hazardous materials. And beyond that, according to the report, when current transportation safety rules were first created, a federal agency sided with industry lobbyists in limited regulations governing the transport of hazardous compounds, adding the decision.
Man, that's crazy. Like, why would a government be involved? Why would they allow such a thing? Man, I mean, I don't know. I don't
The decision
know.
effectively exempted many trains hauling dangerous materials, including the one in Ohio, from the high hazard classification and its more stringent safety requirements. And that's really significant because federal officials told the Lever that the Norfolk Standard train was not being regulated as a high hazard flammable train. This despite the fact that it was literally carrying flammable materials that were so hazardous, officials had to do a controlled burn to prevent them from exploding. And so all of this can actually be traced back to 2014 when the Obama administration proposed new safety regulations for trains carrying hazardous materials. But what we ended up
Okay, so great. That's great news. The Obama administration, they seen that this was an issue, so they implemented more regulations. I mean, that's good, right? Like, who in their right mind would ever see such a thing and feel invoked to dismantle these regulations? Like, it would be a crazy person, right? Like, that kind of person wouldn't be voted into the Oval Office. They wouldn't be president, right?
seeing were those being whittled down after industry lobbyists successfully pressured administration officials to just focus on crude oil and exempt lots of other combustible chemicals. Key thing, including the ones involved in the Ohio disaster. And then those protections were scaled back even more in 2017 with the Trump administration, who repealed a part of that rule mandating that rail cars carrying hazardous flammable materials must be equipped with electronic braking systems. This because it would allow those trains to stop quicker than conventional brakes. And that move was backed by both Senate Republicans and industry lobbyists who, shocker, had donated more than $6 million to GOP campaigns in the 2016 election.
Wow. Oh, more than 6 million? It's more than 6 million to... If you get one thing out of this video, if one thing resonates with you in this video, is money dictates everything. Money should not be a factor when it comes to our government. They should be collecting a check, a basic check, an hourly. Hey, they could be salary for all I care. That should be the only paycheck they should be receiving. Like I said, when you are getting money from railroad industries, obviously you're going to do their bidding. Obviously, you're not going to go against the people that is feeding you. $6 million? It's crazy.
According to the Lever, even though Norfolk Southern had previously touted the new electronic braking technology, it lobbied in favor of the repeal, arguing that it would impose tremendous costs without providing offsetting safety benefits. You know, because they're just a little tiny company that's getting record profits and spent billions of dollars on stock buybacks. I mean, y'all, they are the victims here. Do you know how much maintenance on a yacht is? Also, very notably here, a former senior official at the Federal Railroad Administration explicitly told the Lever, would ECP brakes have reduced the severity of this accident? Yes. And saying the railroads will test new features, but once they are told they have to do it, they don't want to spend the money. And the thing is, I want there to be a better, safer tomorrow, but I don't know how that happens with evil fucking people at evil fucking companies, right? There's the desire for money, there's greed, and then there's an evil amount of greed.
Oh, for
like
sure.
You're talking about people that have done the math of, you know, I think monetarily, it makes more sense to throw millions of dollars at Congress and also, you know, pay money to deal with accidents that happen rather than actually
fixing the problem
safe, rather than actually treat the people that work for us as humans. So hopefully with this derailment.
So, okay, Phil, I'll take it from here. Mr. Phil DeFranco, he hit it on the nose right here. It makes too much sense to look at this kind of situation and say, instead of putting millions of dollars into politicians' pockets, instead of spending millions and millions of dollars for these accidents and these incidents that happen, let's take all that money and invest it into our trains so that they're safer and, you know, they're regulated correctly. I mean, that makes a little too much sense. But maybe it's more, it might cost more. I don't know. I don't own a railroad company, so I don't know. But anytime anyone looks at the safety of others and would rather take in money, profits, is an evil person. There's really no explanation about it. I don't want to argue with nobody on, well, business and CEOs and this. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to try to compose myself in my comment section, because I know it's going to be one or two of these people in there. But if you want to have this conversation, definitely leave a comment down below and let's have that conversation.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to join the conversation by subscribing. Make sure to tune in next time, and like always, power to you, power to me, power to the people, power to the pod.